And updates. I'm your presenter Abdurrahman Yusuf, and tonight these are the stories that are making our headlines. Mogadishu nurse killed by armed robbers. New container service to Somalia from Sharjah. Somali military detect villages from Al-Shabaab in Lower Shabelle region. The killing of a 23-year-old nurse Naimo Abdurrahman by armed criminals in Jugal neighborhood of the Yakhshid district has sparked widespread condemnation. Naima Abdurrahman worked at the Medina hospital in the city, and criminals killed her over her phone, which they attempted to steal. When she resisted and held onto her phone, the assailants shot her and killed her before fleeing on a Bajaj motorcycle.
In Mogadishu, the killing of a 23-year-old nurse Naima Abdurrahman by armed criminals in the Jungle neighborhood of the Yakhshid district has sparked widespread condemnation. Naima Abdurrahman worked at Medina hospital in the city, and the criminals killed her over her phone, which they attempted to steal. When she resisted and held onto the phone, the assailants shot and killed her before fleeing on Bajaj motorcycle. Although security forces arrived shortly after the incident, they could not apprehend the criminals. This tragic event comes at a time when security in Mogadishu had improved following transfer of security responsibilities to highly trained special forces and the weapons banned within the city limits. Despite these security improvements, Mogadishu still grapples with youth gangs known as Ayalwero, which are prevalent in the city's peripheral areas. These gangs are involved with criminal activities such as robbery, extortion, and drug trafficking, and often use weapons such as knives, machetes, and firearms. While poverty, unemployment, lack of education and opportunities, and weak governance are the primary contributing factors of the gang rise, there are allegations that some government soldiers have joined gangs with guns and have been participating in robberies and sharing stolen items. Firearms are easily obtainable in Mogadishu, further exacerbating the situation. Following the event, a meeting was held at Medina Hospital where workers discussed and condemned the killing of Naima Abdurrahman. During the meeting, her colleagues expressed condolences and demanded immediate arrest of those responsible for the murder. They urged the government to work with the police to identify and report them to the authorities. The killing of the young nurse Naima Abdurrahman presents another aspect, multifaceted security challenge that Somalia is facing, with youth gangs being one of the many issues.
Gulftainer announced the arrival of a new container service at Sharjah container terminal servicing Berbera in Somalia. The maiden voyage of Shassom service began on 17th April, departing from Sharjah and arriving at Berbera port after transit time of only 6 days.
Gulftainer announced the arrival of a new container service at its Sharjah container terminal servicing Berbera in Somalia. The maiden voyage for the Shamsom service began on 17th April, departing from Sharjah and arriving at Berbera port after a transit time of only 6 days. The service rotation will be Sharjah, Berbera, Garad, Mogadishu and Sharjah, and is now expected to operate with a frequency of 2 sailings per month, offering customers a reliable and efficient option to transport their goods. According to port shipping, their goal has always been to offer a service from Sharjah to Somalia. They have observed growth in UAE Somalia market, particularly from Sharjah, and have received strong support for their first 3 sailings. Port shipping recognizes the strategic locations of Sharjah in relation to key exporters and has responded to their demand by providing a fast direct service.
The governor of Banadil region, who also doubles up as the mayor of Mogadishu, has today granted Syrian refugees token of money for preparation of the incoming Eid al-Fitr festival. Eid al-Fitr is an Islamic festival that marks the end of Ramadan, the holy month of fasting when Muslims fast from dawn to dusk each day. The translation of Eid al-Fitr loosely means festival of breaking the fast. Governor Medali received the Syrian families at the Hamar local government house after the donation and reaffirmed to the migrants that Somalia has a long-standing relationship with Syria, and despite the current political instability, the federal government of Somalia will always stand with them. Medali also implored to the affluent and Somali businessmen to play a role in supporting the Syrian brothers in the capital. 12 years after protesters in Syria first demonstrated against the 4-decade rule of the Assad family, hundreds of thousands of Syrians have been killed and nearly 13 million people, more than half of the country's pre-war population, have been displaced. This holiday is also a reminder for the Muslims to be grateful for what they have, as well as to help the less fortunate. This is known as zakat, which is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. Zakat is also a requirement that all Muslims with the means to do so to donate to the less fortunate. The Somali National Army 14th October Brigade in the Lower Shabelle region has successfully recaptured several villages in the area on Wednesday. This encouraging development came after a string of attacks from the militant group Al-Shabaab. The villages that SNA captured include Johar Odegle, Eibutei, Gumeisid, Kale Afimad, and Bulo Negei under the district of Odegle, Janale, and number 50.
The Somali National Army 14th October Brigade in the Lower Shabelle region has successfully recaptured several villages in the area on Wednesday. This encouraging development came after a string of attacks from the militant group Al-Shabaab. The villages that the Somali National Army recaptured include Johar Odegle, Aibutei, Gumeisidid, Kali Afimad, and Bulonage under the districts of Odigle, Janale, and Nabarkonton. The operation on these villages was initiated after Al-Shabaab took control of them a few days ago. The group used checkpoints to extort money from people and public vehicles while setting up makeshift court systems where they delivered their twisted version of fine justice. The military officers leading the operation reported that the Somali National Army destroyed the checkpoints and courts and overpowered the militant group, taking control of the area. Wednesday's liberation of the villages came after locals in the area attributed to the help provide valuable intelligence and played a vital role in safeguarding the soldiers. The operation follows several previous military victories by the Somali National Army, with support from civilians in Hiran, Galgaduud, and Lower Shabelle regions. The victories have been instrumental in reducing the grip of Al-Shabaab in Somalia. As part of his administration's commitment to ensuring national security, President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud has officially announced the beginning of the second phase of operations to eradicate Al-Shabaab. The president's administration aims to rid the country of Al-Shabaab completely, improving security for both urban and rural areas. The military operations designated to eliminate Al-Shabaab have been in progress since 2006, and Somalia's government, with the aid of its international counterparts, aims to end the violence caused by the group. Al-Shabaab has carried out many attacks in Somalia, targeting civilians, government buildings, and security personnel. The government of Somalia has taken significant strides towards winning the fight against Al-Shabaab.
That's all we had for you from our desk here in Mogadishu. I would like to thank the Dalsan media fraternity for partaking in this bulletin. Have yourself a lovely night.